Hi folks, I'm Vedant, and I think that accountability is the only offering that mankind can bring to the table in a post AGI world, in the world of agentic AI, where efficiency is the key. Efficiency has always been the key operative word for every business. Every business wants to be more efficient, and you can see that every time a new technology has come into place where efficiency has increased, humans have always felt threatened. For example, when computers were here, when the internet was here, it made things more efficient, right? For example, let us say that you had to note down some financial information in a tabular format. Earlier, you would have done it in a register with ruled lines and so on and so forth. But then came Excel, right? That made things much more efficient. But that also led to job displacement. But I think the only thing that has sort of helped humans stay relevant, other than the socialistic values, that is that if humans are cut out of the equation, then how will we consume? That is that if humans don't make money through the jobs they perform or the businesses that they have, how will they factor into the consumption? Because every economy is driven by consumption. The higher the consumption, the better the economy is doing. And fun fact, I saw this in a very I saw this fun fact in a research article once. That is that the most developed economies have the most kind of SKUs for every product. For example, a Lay's ka chips ka packet in India might have 5 flavors, but a similar company offering a similar kind of product, that is chips, potato chips, might have 10, 15 different flavors in the US and more developed economies like Japan. Japan, I don't think is that developed in comparison to India now. I'm not sure about that. But if you look at Coke flavors as well, in the US they have cherry cola, they have, I don't know, God knows, all different kind of shit, right? But that is not the point. The point is that coming back to the main mudda of the topic, I think that accountability is the only thing that will be humanity's saving grace. And let me elaborate on that. That is that when we produce any sort of work, when we are doing something, we are accountable for it. The result, the outcome of the process that we employ to produce a piece of work is tied to us through accountability. For example, if if we were in a group project, or let us say a better example would be, let us say that I had an employer who had given me a piece of work to make, let's say, a PPT. I made the PPT. I submitted the PPT to my boss, who then presented it in a board meeting. Now, any fuck up related to the PPT would directly be linked to my boss, and then he will shove down the blame to me, and then my head will be on the cutting block. But if in this equation, if I wasn't there, if a human wasn't there, and let us say that my boss had some AI tool, Pop AI, whatever, some crap, some AI tool made the PPT, make the PPT, then the cutting block will be of my boss's only, my boss's head only, not my head or not anyone else's head. So that particular person will have no one else to shove blame to, right? And accountability in this equation, the AI might make a better PPT than me, but accountability is one thing which AI can never offer, because if AI hallucinates, if your LLM of choice, if your whatever of choice fucks up and hallucinates, adds some wrong information, and does some minor fuck up or major fuck up, then OpenAI, Perplexity, and all of these companies, they are not to blame, right? So who will you shove the accountability to? Who will you blame, right? So I've actually been thinking about this for quite some time, and I don't know why nobody else has brought this topic up. Either I am going crazy, or people have not thought about it from this angle yet. But I think accountability is the only ace up humanity's sleeve, right? That that made sense, right? And that is a very scary future. That is one thing. Accountability is the one ace up of humanity's sleeve, and that is from the capitalistic point of view. That is that if governments don't interfere, if we don't want the economy to crumble, then there is something different. There is one more thing, and that is that I do not think that AI will ever replace us. And even if it does, I am sure that we will somehow find some way of procuring a livelihood or maintaining some sort of a lifestyle. Because the thing is that if humans do not earn, if, as I mentioned earlier, if humans do not earn money, then how will they spend money? And if people stop spending money, then the economy is like over, right? If people do not spend money, how will companies get money? How will they pay their employees? Blah blah blah, so on and so forth. It's a vicious cycle, right? So I am 100% sure that some sort of system will come on board. Let us say UBI, sorry, Universal Basic Income. Some sort of system will come on board where people will be protected and they will have some sort of a livelihood. Everybody will, because our whole existence is based on the fact that there is somebody who wants to sell something and there is somebody who wants to buy something. And if the buying aspect ceases to exist, then the seller who's selling their services, who's selling their product, their existence will also cease to exist, and then everybody will die. Right? So I don't know what the future holds for us, but I am 100% sure that it's going to be a fantastic time for people who have developed into the soft skills wala area, into a holistic profile and are generalists. Generalists as in people who have their hands in every all kind of pies, people who are confident about themselves, people who are charismatic, and people who know how to sell. Because in a post AGI world, in the future we are headed towards, I don't think that skills like technical skills like coding and designing and even being creative for the matter of fact will even matter, because we are headed into the era of skill democratization. And in this era, you don't need to be an expert in something to make expert level content or expert level results. You just need to have some basic understanding. For example, right now as well, if you have some basic understanding of how to prompt better or how to prompt well, you can create amazing pieces of content. You can do almost everything you want. Now, in like within a span of 3 years, the technology has progressed to a point where if you know how to prompt well, you are set. You don't really need hard skills. But of course, things like understanding the foundation, for example, in coding, let us say if you want some AI tool to build a Python app or some website using CSS, HTML, and JavaScript, and some backend APIs, let us say even implementing authentication using Firebase, using Airtable as the database, whatever, database software, etc. Right? You need to have some skills and you need to have some understanding, because if something happens tomorrow, you will have to troubleshoot it. In the future, though, I think everything will be sorted out by agentic AI, which is happening now as well. I think Lovable is there, and Copilot, I'm not sure about, but Lovable is there, right? Where they even do the troubleshooting for you. But for example, something as basic as DNS records management for a domain, right? CNAME management, whatever, putting the proper DNS records, the name servers, email hosting, email management, admin work, all of these things. If you have basic knowledge about things like these, then any AI can guide you on how to optimize your workflow and can even do the work for you. But you need to have some basic knowledge. And in the world we are headed towards, if we have basic knowledge about a wide variety of topics, let us say website design, graphic design, this, that, fonts, typography, so on and so forth, then I think that kind of person will excel like hell. And as I mentioned, I think in my blog or my last video, I'm not sure, one of the places, I also feel that in the future we will revert back to more of a village like model where everyone is a small business owner or an entrepreneur, because services I do not think will be in demand that much, because services involve skill like let us say agencies, so on and so forth, that I think everybody will have access to through their LLM of choice, through their personal assistant of choice. But products will still be there, because I might set up a business of selling water bottles, but I will not necessarily set up a business of selling tiffin boxes, for example. So somebody else might sell tiffin boxes. I might pay them money or I might do some sort of barter deal with them. I don't know what is going to happen, but I think something really crazy is about to happen. And my fear is that the technical folks, people who have invested years and years and years of their life in perfecting the craft in technical fields, for example, coding, research, designing, and so on and so forth, they will be the worst affected, and they have always been the worst affected because they've all. I think there are two layers, or rather two kinds of people. One is the front end, and one is the back end. Back end people can be the coders. The front end people can be the salesmen. When you are in the front end, you get a lot of attention, you get all the praise because you are right there. For example, let me think of uh, t- t- um, okay, let us say two people start a company. One person is a CEO, wala kind of position, and they are the salesman. They are the person who does media appearances. They are the person who sells to other companies and so on and so forth. They're the front end of the company. That is extremely important. And there's one other person who's the CTO of the company, who's also the co-founder. He does the back end work, like वो सारी teams manage करता है, coding teams manage करता है, and he builds the whole product up. Both of them are as crucial as each other. They are both are necessary to build a proper company. But the back end guy does not get the recognition he deserves. And this actually reminds me of an episode from Black Mirror, which is a show I absolutely adore, right? But the back end guy has always been the guy that has been fucked badly. The front end guy has always gotten all kinds of achievements, all kinds of accomplishments, and all kinds of attention. And usually people in the front end are sort of hollow, right? And that creates a enmity and sort of a bad environment amongst the co-founders in this capacity, who are working in this capacity. ये तो एक हो गया. I think that we are headed into the era where instead of having one back end and one front end kind of role, like back and front end, I think we will have a middle kind of person. People who know both things. Because AI, AGI, whatever you say it will allow you to have the skills of a person who has spent years and years and years working in a back end kind of capacity. And if you develop your soft skills, the way you speak, your personality, your charisma, your salesmanship, then you will have the front end skills. Because front end skills, AI will never, ever, ever replicate. That will never happen. Because humans crave for authenticity, AI will never be authentic. Although one day might come where we do not care about authenticity anymore, because the content we are provided is so catered to us, is so personalized to our needs, that authenticity से ज़्यादा better वो है. For example, let us say if I'm into comedy, and a very very specific kind of comedy. For example, let us say if I'm into comedy about trains, for example, only about trains, and that is sort of the thing that I get off on, right? Then if my feed is filled with एकदम से train वाले jokes, like exactly what can make me laugh based on their understanding of me and their analysis of me based on the huge amount of data they have on me, then I might not care because I am numbed out of my mind by the content I'm seeing because it is so hyper personalized to me. One other example which makes most sense is in terms of kinks. I don't know if I should talk about this though. Okay, I will. Kinks. Everybody has different kinks, and the kind of content you consume, you try to find content which incorporates these kinks or caters to these kinks, right? And if there was a solution to this, if your tool which you use, it analyzed you, it understood your preferences, it understood the kinks you look out for or the kinks you enjoy or whatever, right? Then it can create a hyper personalized and curated feed for you, either by just creating content by itself or showing you even more hyper personalized results like what TikTok has done in the past and still continues to do with the algorithm, right? But I don't think authenticity will matter that much, and I sort of digressed from the main fund of this video for quite a while because I was ranting about a lot of other things, right? But I think accountability is one of the biggest aces up of humanity's sleeve, and yeah, that is pretty much it from my end. I do not really have anything else to add, and yeah, that is all. Thank you. Bye bye.